West of What is a round-table conversation inspired by Mother Earth's call for more landwork ceremonies to happen. This is a podcast where spirituality lands into politics, history, culture, and more, because land is where we all meet. We want to know how we can come into greater connection with the land and each other, and how we can all move forward with integrity. We believe the answers and solutions will come from many voices, from the truths that happen inside of our togetherness. Hello and welcome to West of What, and I am so excited to say that we have a very, very, very special guest on today. I have had the absolute honor and privilege of being in her Temazcale ceremonies, and as somebody who is quite obsessed with the power of sweat and has sweated all over the world, I could say that Gloria's temazcales are one of the best that I've ever been to, and I am very excited to see what she has to say. Gloria is devoted to being of service to life and its mysteries, curious and passionate to discover the depths of humanity, and with a deep passion for creating spaces where people can feel safe, open, and real. She guides temazcales and different ceremonies where we return to what is essential: presence, connection, and the joy of being alive together. And our intention for this conversation is that you open to feeling more alive. Thank you for coming on. Excited to have you. For anybody that doesn't know what temazcale is, let's start there. What is temazcale?
Yes, exactly. Also because in like you presented it in such a way, right? So, well, first of all, thank you. Like, this is amazing. I'm very excited to be with you guys and talking about this, about life. I was re-listening to what you were saying of living in presence and in joy and in connection, and I love that. All together, yes. So the temazcal, let's say it's a sweat lodge, right? An ancient ceremony that has been made in a lot of countries, to be honest. Each country has its own way, but basically the idea is that we all gather in a circle, in community, and we sweat in different ways, as I'm saying, right? But in this case, the ceremony that you experience and the one that I do is coming from Mexico. And so what we're doing here is we build an igloo structure, let's say, with blankets or with another material, such as like soil, like dirt, right? And make it a natural environment. And we bring inside hot stones, volcanic stones, which we call grandmothers, because they are ancient. They've been here for millions of years. And once they are hot, we bring them inside, and then we pray to life. We pray to the elements. We pray to us as humanity. We pray for our patience. We pray for life, for love, for joy, to release all the worries, all anxiety, all stress. You know, this environment is quite it's designed for us to really go inside, right? Because it's a space that is contained and it's dark and it's right in the earth. The idea is to go inwards, right? And to really experience all that we need to experience, as I say, from worries to joy, all the spectrum of what human is, what being a human is, right? And so in this tradition, we do 4 rounds of bringing volcanic stones, and each round is dedicated to one of the elements: earth, water, fire, and air. And in each round, we're working and praying with specific things, right? Specific things are animals, specific situations, specific aspects of the human self. And the major thing about this is that we do it in community. because it's the only way the only way is together. The only way that we can thrive and really heal and enhance life and be extremely fulfilled in our lives is with other people. So that's the main purpose of this temazcal, that we come together and we pray together and we heal together. No? How
And there is such a difference. So I have taken many people to Temazcale or a different type of sweat lodge when, like, I've been taking a group through land ceremony and there's been an opportunity to do sweat. And if there's an opportunity to do sweat, then we do it because I'm obsessed with sweating. And I see many people get very if they haven't done it before, they get very nervous. Some of them say they don't like the heat, they don't like the thought of being in the dark, they're scared of the ceremony. But it's so different when you're all together and you're singing together and you're praying together. It does take you to your edge, but it's the togetherness that takes you through your edge. It's the togetherness that makes the edge easy. And I'm really, I have a set of guides called the Rainbow Grandmothers, and honestly, their answer to every problem, they're like, go and sweat. Sweat is the first medicine. The revolution's going to be sweaty. All humans need to do is sweat it, sweat out the problems. And so I'm really pro. I think that when it's happening more now, but I don't think we're doing enough sweat. Like a lot of our, like you said, it's in every culture, ancient culture of the world is sweat ceremony, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is the thing, it brings so many benefits to every part of us, but like literally that we physically detoxify takes a lot of weight out of our systems. So of course, when we are in worries or struggling, if we release that peel, in our bodies, like physically, we release some weight out of us, then of course we can think clearer, right? That's what happens, no? Every time we go to the Temazcal, no matter what we're going through, it's just like, it's like a reset, no? Or how do you experience it?
I experience it as a rebirth. I think if you go into Temazcal, so my experience with the Temazcal in Uber, and I want to ask you about this because you're obviously doing a Mexican ceremony on a land where the people have their own beliefs and their own spirits, and I'm really curious about what it's like to hold a traditional ceremony on a land like Ubud, but the first time I went to the Temazcal, that you weren't holding, somebody else was holding it that day, and it was not this year, it was the year before. I went to it and I had this thing that I really wanted to sort out. And so I was like, my intention is that this dies, this wound dies. And so I went into the Temazcal with this intention that this wound was going to die in me. And I came out of the Temazcal and then that night I started to get all of these crazy symptoms and these really weird symptoms. And my guides were like, and this went on for days and it was really weird. It was like 1 minute it would be food poisoning, the next minute it would be flu, the next minute it would be toothache. And I was like, what is going on? My whole, this is crazy. I've never experienced anything like this before. And my guides were like, Kahreela, you went to a Temazcal in Ubud, which is, the word Ubud means medicine. You told the spirits that you wanted a death. You now have the death. And it's in your body. And they were like, now you have to go back to the Temazcal and rebirth. And so they were like, you have to go to the next one because you just got this death energy that you called in floating through your body. And so you have to go and rebirth and take it back into the Temazcal and go back in. And so the next one I went to was your one. It was a women's only one. It was the next available one. So I was like, I've got to get this death out of my body. My guides, they were like, honestly, you don't need to set. They were like, you don't need to set such dramatic intentions if you want to. Like, if you want to have an easier time, don't be like, this dies today. Because you will be taken seriously with Temazcale. And I think that was one of the moments that I, even though I've done sweat ceremonies for years, it was one of the moments that I really understood, like in Temazcale or in any sweat, what you are heard, like your intention is met at the deepest and truest level. And it was amazing to then go and rebirth in that moon ceremony with women. And then actually I felt like I needed to do a third one because I'd had such a big journey. So I moved my flight to do the third one. So it was the most expensive Temazcale I've ever done because I had to move my flight back from England. But that's how important it is. That's how important this ceremony is, in my opinion. It can literally bring you anything you ask for because it's so soulful and so full-bodied. And so when do you go to a ceremony and your intention is met that accurately?
Yeah, they are. They're very intense, and I do traditional sauna at home. I did one this morning as well, and they're probably Celsius. They're 90 to 110 degrees, and you do about 25 minutes, and you're done. Like you're really exhausted. And when you do the temazcale, you're doing 4 rounds, and it's amazing how you find the energy to do it because I would never, like with a traditional sauna, I would not do that 25 to 30 minutes, have a break and go back in. Like by the time I'm done, I am just done. And with the temazcale, it's amazing how you finish that 3rd round and you got one more to go and you're getting towards the end of the 4th round and you are just, it feels like you're fighting for your life. And I guess that's where all the benefits come in because, I'm a big believer in things like, ice bars and like gym and sauna and all these things are putting stresses on our body. Like when you go to the gym, you're tearing your muscle apart and it's rebuilding. And when you're having a sauna, you're releasing all these heat shock proteins and you've got to put that body through the stress where it actually does feel like it's dying in a way where you get all the benefits. And yeah, it's really powerful stuff. And it's true when there's all the singing and chanting and you can't quite see what's going on and people are naked. Just by the time you get out of there, you're crawling out like you're crawling out of a womb. For those that are listening, how long are the sessions for? How long is the break in between? And roughly, if you were to guess, how hot do they go?
There's so many subjects that we're talking about, right? It's
Yeah.
also what you're mentioning. I actually don't know what the temperature is.
Yeah, it would be, if I had to guess, it would be easily 90 plus because it's very hot. Yeah.
Very hot. And it
Yeah.
can get super hot. It can get super hot.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like part of the heat. So everything in the Temazcale is designed for us to get out of our comfort zone. It's really
Exactly.
designed to trigger the shit out of us, right? And put us like in this turmoil, so that we're like, no, I'm dying. Now I'm gonna die. Now I'm gonna die. Now I'm gonna die. Like every 5 minutes, you're like, now I'm gonna die, right? But the idea is like, yes, please die. Please die. Let's all die so that we can actually become more friends with life, right? Please, let's die, because the more we learn to die, the more we learn to let go of things that don't belong to us anymore, things that we're attached to, things that we're like resistant and wanting to be the way instead of allowing life to happen, right? So this is one of the main reasons why I really love the Temazcal. But like, let's say in terms of time, it's always different, but let's say that we say 20 minutes the first round and then we open the door. And then once we open the door, fresh new air comes in, and we stay maybe between 7-10 minutes, maybe less, sometimes less, with fresh air and the door open, and then we bring stones again. So let's say that the whole time outside, not outside, but once we open the door, would be maybe like 15 minutes total, counting the moment where we're bringing the hot stones in again. So let's say that the temazcal lasts between 2.5 hours and 3 hours inside. And it is a lot. It can be a lot, but also what you were mentioning about the energy, I feel like this is so important to consider, that we have way more power than we think. Like we're really, really way more powerful than we could ever think of. And this is a space for us to truly feel that. So no matter how many times the head says, I'm dying, I'm really dying, then we're still there. And then the song comes and we all sing, and suddenly we have energy to sing. And actually we get excited when we're singing. And the excitement brings us more energy and more availability to hold the situation, right? So that's a very big lesson for life, like the more we trust ourselves and the more we believe in ourselves and in the power that resides inside of us, the more we can cultivate loving energy, and then we can hold the situation that we're going through in a more gentle and caring way, no?
Yeah, for sure. And I think humans in modern society, we've lost our ability and our connection with the raw elements of the world because we've become so comfortable in finding this equilibrium and being comfortable where we're not too hot and we're not too cold. So we have air conditioning, we have clothes, we have fans, heating, and it's actually affected our body and our relationship to suffering and our relationship to death and all these things. But it's important to have a healthy relationship with that because it is the inevitable in this world. And whether it's suffering through emotional trauma or physical trauma or suffering or just being uncomfortable, it's guaranteed to happen. So it's important to build and change the neural pathways in our brain to have a healthy connection with that. And there's a lot of science behind it as well, that back in the day we had to brace the elements and it made us healthy. We had more brown fat and things like that. And we've now just completely lost that because we're just always so comfortable. But there's something really beautiful about suffering so much. And then when you come out of that, you feel so invigorated and refreshed. It feels amazing.
The life you feel, it is worth doing temazcale for many reasons, but alone, it is worth for that moment when you come out and there are the stars and you get that first drink of water or coconut water like you serve, and it like tastes like the most amazing thing you've ever tasted in your life. And like you like, it's like you get to experience being alive because you've been so in that death experience, and you're in so much appreciation. And it like, it is, in our modern day addiction to comfort that you're pointing out, Ekbalu, we don't get that. Like we're also missing out on that sweetness of life because we're just so comfortable all the time. Sweetness of life comes when you've been uncomfortable, and then that thing that you haven't had, like, because I noticed last time in the Temazcale in Bali, you didn't let anyone have water.
No.
Oh my God. That's intense.
And but then when everybody was coming out and they were eating this fruit and drinking this water, they were like, oh, like in
Heaven.
So much love with the water and the food and the coconut water,
Yeah.
And I love it because, sorry, go.
No, sorry, you go.
No, I was just gonna say that I love because people like sometimes ask, can we have water? And they get excited, and I'm like, no, because this is a beautiful way of staying with the discomfort and not getting what you want. And actually, I even say, but imagine, like, once you go out, there's gonna be a lot of delicious water waiting for you. So elongate the desire. because this is part also of the pleasure of life, that we are so used to get the instant satisfaction that we don't really take our time to this inhalation, the breath, the space that is created between what we want and when we get it. Ooh, it's just so delicious. It's a full body orgasm. That's a full body orgasm, actually, like this, like, oh my God. I stay with the desire. I breathe into the desire. I know that I'm gonna get what I want in due time, which also allows us to have a lot of patience with what we want, and the deliciousness of not having what we want, actually. I mean,
Yeah, and one of the most amazing things is that the person holding the space is singing and chanting and drumming and doing all these things which look quite labor intensive, but they just find the energy to do it. Everyone else is just fighting for their life, hanging onto the back of the wall. And doing all that drumming for 2 hours, that's very intense. But clearly there's just like this energy, and you're channeling and you're doing all these things. You're not in your head and you're in the moment. And when you're out of your head, your body just finds a way to go. Our body can go through a lot more than what we think we can.
I want to ask you about that actually. What is it like to, because obviously in Temazcale, you are taking people to their edge, and people are scared they're going to die. Like I've witnessed people totally freak out in there. Not always. Sometimes people are just in the bliss and in the prayer. But like, as the space holder, what is that responsibility like? Like, how do you know that everybody is okay? How do you know that somebody isn't actually going past their edge? What is it like?
well, to be honest, I think it's the circle. I think, first of course, mentioning that they are allowed to express, that if they are going through something, that please they express. I feel like clear communication is very important, so that they know that they are safe to speak, right? When they are panicking. And I mean, you've seen, like, when people start panicking, normally I take a moment to tell them to breathe. And just by coming to the breath, they actually relax. And then they understand that it's the mind kicking in and making the whole body feel bad, but it's the mind. And the moment we breathe, the moment our bodies regulate, and then we can sit and stay. Of course, there's been moments, like I've had people that they just stand up and go.
I
Which,
was in a Temazcale of yours where someone stood up and went. And what was amazing to me is it affected the whole group so much. Everybody,
yeah,
when that person left, everybody else suddenly, then somebody else was like, I want to leave. And it like really showed me the power of the group. Like our commitment to staying in is not just about us and our soul, it's also about everybody else in there, because as soon as somebody leaves, and obviously if somebody has to because they're having an asthma attack or something, but it was really interesting because you could feel that the whole group was affected by that person leaving. And then it took a while for everybody to come back into togetherness. It was like people, I wouldn't say they were upset, but it like created a shift in the space. It created a change in the space. It was really interesting.
and which is something that I always say, like, we are all part of the chain. So whatever you do creates an impact in all of us. So that's why I also ask for the noble silence and to really stay, because the moment one person starts talking, gives permission to the other person, and then like the energy dissipates like super quick. And the idea is that we're all holding the space, not just me, which is also why I can hold the temazcal by myself, because it's not me only, right? It seems that it's me because I'm the one guiding and praying and all doing this, but like actually it's all of us. And I've been training myself in order to know that I don't have the control, that there's way many other aspects than just me. So I actually need to surrender as well and let myself be held by you guys. And not just by you, but by all the elements and by life and by the fire keeper and by the land and by the whole Mother Earth and her beautiful energy, right? So when you were saying about like we go on the edge, I go on the edge so much. Like imagine that I'm right there. I'm right there with the steam coming to my face. And of course there's moments where I'm dying. And I just like I'm not gonna hold one more second. So I need to lay down and then go, oh, okay. And then I come back up. But there's a song when I first started guiding Temazcales, there's a song that says, um, there's a there's a heart that guides us and que nos guía y nos da toda su fuerza, that guides us and gives us the strength. And so, and then it says, today I ask you, Great Spirit, that you listen to this sacred heart, that you listen to this sacred prayer, right? That I have the strength in my heart, anything that I need to come back up, to throw more water, etc. Because as you were saying, Kahreela, this is not about me, this is about we. And once we tune into the we, then the resources just come for all of us, right? It's just we are an infinite source of power and love, so it just comes. Ooh,
And
it's so exciting, right?
when we think of the problems that are going on in the world right now, if we all tune into the we, the power and resources are going to come to us. This is what sweat ceremony teaches us. This is why we have to sweat, because we have to stand against incredible forces right now. You know? I want to ask, because obviously, so what is it like? A Mexican traditional ceremony in a land like Bali, where there is so much. Like Bali has its own spirits, its own traditions, its own. Was there like resistance to the Temazcale being built, or were they people really open to it? What's it like from that level, and also what's it like from the spirit level? Like, how do the spirits of Bali feel about all of these new traditions coming into Bali?
I love that you take like that you bring this subject, because actually this year, so this is the second year that we're running the Temazcal, and what I've been feeling is like, oh, the energy in Bali is super soft. It's super soft. So of course, having a Temazcal, it's actually quite confronting for the energy of Bali, because the energy of the Temazcal is quite a warrior energy, right? And so I actually felt that this year we've had to cancel many temazcales. And I was wondering, it was because of the rain, right? But in reality, and because the rain is hard. So I was wondering, like, is this the proper space to guide temazcales? And I was questioning that, and I asked for guidance, and then the temazcales started like flowing again. So I was like, okay, we do have the not only the permission, because the permission we have, but like it is beneficial for this land, but it's also beneficial for the people from all over the world that suddenly find a temazcal and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like I haven't done temazcal since I was in Mexico and now it's here, you know? So it creates a lot of joy within the people. Yeah. And there's a difference here because, of course, Balinese people don't come very often to the ceremonies. I've actually had maybe 3 Balinese people that came and they loved it, but it's totally different from their religion, even though in both religions, which is Hinduism, and I mean, not that Temazcal is a religion, but like in a way we're praying, right? We're pagan because we're praying to the elements and to all sorts of life. So I feel like we're praying to the same thing in a way, you know, when we are in the Temazcal, we call in the energy of Shiva, as well, right? Like of Tara, green Tara, of Kali, the goddess of transformation. We call in like this these energies or these aspects of us, which is also the elements that are aspects of us. In reality, we're praying to the same thing, right? So all of this, I question myself a lot before bringing the temazcal, and the only thing that I thought is like, okay, if it's meant to be, the priest will come. If it's meant to be, the workers will come. If it's meant to be, we will figure it out with this part of the land. And if it's meant to be, and that's how I've been rolling with, if it's meant to be, then we keep on going. Because also the temazcal right now, because of the rain, is semi falling apart in many moments, right? Because and we need to keep on fixing it, because the rain is really dense, and so it brings a lot of questioning, and at the same time it brings a lot of trust that right now the temazcal is alive, and as soon as long as it's alive, it means that we're doing something cool in here. No, don't you think?
Absolutely, I agree. Like if the land wants you, the land wants you, and it, you know, the proof of the ceremony like that, the proof is that the ceremony's happening, like you say. No, like
Yeah.
if the spirits didn't want it, it wouldn't be happening. I was curious about, because I've actually done a few sweat lodges in England that have been cold, where yeah. So
O sea, pero
How
on
do you
purpose.
sweat?
so one of the things that people try and do in England is really beautiful, but they try and bring stones from England, and they're not lava stones, and so the stones don't hold the heat. And so, and the land is colder than it is in Mexico or Peru or whenever they're doing it. And so there's been twice where I've done a sweat in England, and everybody's in there is cold, and you still sweat. It's really weird. Like you still sweat, but you're cold. And
That's strange.
but I feel like it's kind of how can I put it? It's like
It's
I
very
feel
English.
like it's very English. Yes. I feel like the land has to be part of the ceremony, you know? And like you've just said, Ekbalu, it's really English for sweatlands to be too cold in England. And I guess where I was going with that question is, presumably it's different. Presumably you've held ceremony in Mexico, and presumably it's different to hold it in Bali because the land's different. Or is it the same for you?
Well, to be honest, it is different only in the sense that the space that is created in itself has a different sensation. But I feel on my side, I feel that because I am a woman and I am very, not only because I'm a woman, but because I am quite soft and gentle, according to me. If where I'm in Mexico or if I'm here, my way of guiding is quite gentle, let's say, right? If you had a temazcal with a Lakota warrior in Mexico, it will be like way more intense, and the drum even gets way more intense, and the energy is like da 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 da. So I actually don't know how that energy could work here in Bali. I don't know. I mean, maybe it contrasts in a very chill way. I don't know.
Yeah, me and Kahreela have actually done one in Mexico, and it was very intense. It was like that. There was lots of drumming, and I just could not believe this guy was just drumming and singing for that long because I was just dying. But yeah, it just shows like holding that space. You get a different energy. You're the space holder, so wherever you're pulling that energy from, it make sure that you can do it.
Ta, 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 ta. But it's que this is the thing. The more we sing, the more energy we create. The drum You know, the drum enhances the vibrations inside of us, and it's just like, dan, 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 we can go party with it, you know? So of course the drum influences a lot and the way we sing. But like, for example, me, I tend to sing in a normal tone, but if I sing louder, and when we are like, when I create the space for all of us to scream and to just like release, oh my God, there is so much power in our voices. There's so much power. So by the end of the scream, we are all like, woo, venga, give me another door, you know? No? That happens a lot, I think. And yeah, it just reminds us the power of our voices. I love it.
And what's the most beautiful thing you've ever experienced in the Temazcale?
Wow. Okay, so many things, but the one that came to mind as you asked was that a crocodile came and
What?
in the I know that sounds super weird, but like in the so I see shapes in the stones, right?
Yeah.
And I know you thought of a crocodile. So and a crocodile came, right? Like in the shape of the stone. And it was very beautiful to first of all, like for me to be like, oh, okay, you're here. I've never mentioned, prayed, or anything to a crocodile in the Temazcal. So welcome, right? Looking at a stone and then allowing the message, because even though I'm way more open and in my daily life I communicate a lot with other beings, the mind still kicks in like, you're fucking crazy. This is just in your head, right? But basically, this was the third door. And he said, like, the image that I got was that because this is a very powerful animal, we are all afraid of him. But he wanted us to know that he's only a sentient being, like, he's also a sentient being. And he has feelings, and he also wants that appreciation, and not just like it's horrible that we are all scared of him, right? And in the same way, he presented the anger and how we are also very scared of anger, and we resist anger, and anger just wants to be expressed, and anger just wants to be felt, and also have a space for that, instead of all of us running away from it. Welcome it, not just ours, but anger in general, right? Like, and here we can talk about a lot of things, because anger has uh, many ways of seeing it, right? From many layers we can see anger. So in this case, I really appreciated that the crocodile came in a very gentle way to express this. And it really touched my heart that the first thing that he said was that he's also a sentient being, which really reminded me that we are all in the same space of being loving, but then also having our issues and our struggles. And because that's what we show, then people sometimes are scared of us or resistant to us, but there's so much depth in each one of us as humans, right? So that was one of the things.
That's
Yeah,
so
that's
beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's very interesting, and I think I've reflected on this a bit, and I think humans have this. We judge animals on their looks, and we set different rules because a cow is cuter than a bug or an insect or a crocodile, and I just don't think people look at all these living beings as equal life, even the ones that preach equal life. And a crocodile is a perfect example of that because they do look quite prehistoric and rugged, and they don't look cuddly, and everyone just looks at them as this like, oh, they're quite angry or scary. And one of the only cultures I've seen more or less worship the crocodile, and Kahreela, you might know why. I forget why. It's Egypt. Yeah. What do you know why?
Sobek is the crocodile god of would the gods in Egypt, they're not really gods. They're not really gods. They are nators. which is where the word nature comes from. So the gods and
Nature.
goddesses. So the gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt, it's paganism as well, right? So all of the legends, all of the stories, all of the temples, they're called the gods and goddesses are called the natures originally, which basically is where the word nature comes from. And Sobek is the crocodile god, and you can go. There's a temple where there's all these mummified crocodiles. And they used crocodile is a big part of the nature in Egypt. It's in the Nile, and so I feel like he's to do with the underworld, but I don't know. But Gloria had us in the last sweat lodge I was in with her. She had us all praying to the cockroach.
Yes, I love it. Not just pray to it, but actually learning how to see it as a ninja, like as the most amazing creature, because she has barely changed the structure in I don't know how many thousands of years, right? She's such a badass that she adapts to all of it so that they can live. And they are millions and trillions of them here, and we don't even know them. They are ninjas. They are hiding all the time, even when we don't know. I love
Yeah,
that.
cockroaches have it very tough. Like, there's a lot of people that look at a cockroach and just immediately, scream or want to kill it or something like that. But I've always felt that with cockroaches, they never really try to come at you or attack you, but they you can just tell they're very misunderstood, and they can survive anything. I think they can survive like a nuclear war. They can survive anything. So yeah, they definitely have it tough. In New South Wales, which is one of the states in Australia, some of the cockroaches fly. I'm not sure if that's common overseas, but it's the only state where they fly. So that's pretty serious.
It's scary, right? O
Yeah.
sea, I'm not saying that I enjoy when a cockroach comes in my field, but at the same time, yes, they are very misunderstood. And we have all created a collective fear towards them. So, of
Yeah.
course, it's it's just an idea, but whenever I say that, like, these animals really teach us how to adapt to the circumstances,
And
because it's true.
humans, I had a message once about humans, and this message was just like, your superpower is adaptability. Like, there is
Mm.
a fish cannot climb a tree. Like, humans can run around like monkeys or be like fish, or be our superpower is adaptability. And as we're talking, I'm like, oh my god, we're actually closer to, we're scared of cockroaches because they share our superpower. We are actually quite like them, and actually maybe we need. One of the things that I think is so important about a ceremony in these times is we really need to summon all the power that we can. We've got this incredible task ahead of us of a very broken world that needs a new version of itself. And ceremony helps us, I believe, to borrow the powers of nature. So, like the natives in Egypt, or when you're in prayer with a cockroach in the middle of a sweat lodge in Bali, you're coming into worship with the power of adaptability. You're coming into you're summoning powers, right? And it's a bit like we can do this. We can make change. We can make all of the change happen, but we need the ceremony to summon, to be able to stop seeing a cockroach as a pest, and actually summon its powers and recognize its powers within us, recognize our adaptability, and that adaptability is going to be important in the next phases, personally and collectively, you know. And that's, for me, that's what ceremony does, is it helps us summon power.
I love that you say that. And the other day I was in a water ceremony here in Bali, and my teacher was saying, we come to ceremony to, like, independently of the intention that we have, we come here to bring balance to our lives, and then things like take it their own flow, right? Because we can ask from here or have the intention of like, I want this and this and that, but actually what we need is this and this and that. So by coming into ceremony, whichever ceremony we do, but when we put ourselves to the service of life, or to the the highest good of all, of course, then we create this homeostasis, equilibrium inside of us, and then things just come in the most unexpected way, but also in the most loving and caring way for us, even if we don't see it in the moment, right? So I love also that you're mentioning like ceremony, whichever ceremony it is, because no matter no matter which ritual we do, even if it's just lighting a candle at home, we have access to that all the time because we are that too, right? So actually for me, ceremony is remembering that I am that and bringing into the awareness, no? And from there, creating my life.
And is that what you would say if somebody listening wants to know how they can come into ceremony with the earth? Is it just that remembrance, or is there anything else you would say?
Oh, the moment you asked that, I thought like, how could that be, you know? Because only by looking at a palm tree, like right now I'm looking at a palm tree, and only by that, by me remembering that she's alive and that I am alive, and just recognizing the life in her, I already feel like I'm in ceremony. Because it's like, for me, ceremony is that space in time where we enter, or where we remember that there's way more than the regular way that we live in, right? There's a deep force, a deep energy, a deep like whoa, that is creating everything. And the moment we pay attention, it's like coming back to the heart, right? And suddenly paying attention to the pulse inside. I'm not normally paying attention to the pulse, but once I create that awareness, it's like, wow, there's something there, you know, that is making my heart beat. Wow. And that already brings me in a different state of being, no? So when you were saying about like how to connect with the earth, like the first thing that I thought was like stepping the feet on the ground and taking a deep breath and just admiring nature, contemplating her. I feel like that's the only that we don't even have to say anything. And maybe if we want to say thank you, that's more than enough. Thank you, like a true felt thank you. But even if we don't feel gratitude in the moment, just by contemplating and admiring and seeing the colors and the shapes and really paying attention, there's already so much interaction happening that that we inevitably go into merging with her, right? Which is merging with life.
That's really, really beautiful. And something that is often where we end up in West of What, is back to this simplicity of appreciating life. And I'd love to ask you, what is it from your point of view if somebody's in a sweat ceremony? Obviously they're sweating out physical toxin, but what else are they sweating out?
Well, a lot, I feel like they're sweating the fear They are sweating the comfort zone, like they are sweating the box that they live in. I mean, we are all sweating the box that we live in, right? Like the stepping out into something new, then we are sweating the comfort of the box also. The comfort, like the supposed comfort that that is actually like holding us back, right? So with that, we're also like sweating a past part of us that doesn't belong to the new humanity that we're creating, right? Like when you, like when in the third door, on the door of the fire, I like to call in the snake, because the heat really feels like we're shedding our skin. It's just so hot that we feel like burning, right? And that's the power of the snake, that it allows us to shed the skin. And the snakes shed the skin completely, and then they are brand new, right? And then they shake themselves, and then chung, have new skin, new personality, new body, new everything. And we are actually doing the same thing. Every 7 years, we're a different person in the body, right? But we don't even realize it. So we keep on bringing all the worries and all the stories and the identities that we have. So that's a big important part, because um, the majority of life we perceive it through the eyes, right? Like the fortunate people that we are, that we have an eyes to see. And when we are inside, there is no look at my beautiful body, or look at my beautiful smile, or I'm super good person because I'm helping, or I am whatever identities we have on ourselves. They are gone. Even the material aspect, we don't care about the material aspect inside. We don't care about anything. Just come and sit on the ground and get dirty. Please get dirty, right? It's a big part of it. Like, get dirty and shut up and cry and motherfucker.
Shut up. That might have to be the title of this episode. Get dirty, sweaty, and shut up.
Right? Also, so it's like, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And actually, the other day, like, I heard something, and I brought it to the temazcal, because somebody was saying like how we identify a lot with our earrings, with our watches, with our, like, the way we wear the hair, you name it, like a lot of identifications just in little details. So it's like, take it all out. Take
And
all,
you
come
have
take it.
Temazcale. You cannot go into Temazcale with any of your costumes on. You know, you have to go naked into Temazcale. I think that's why it's so powerful, because you have to leave all your identities outside.
I love that you said the word costume.
You know, I was actually talking to someone about the priestess path the other day, and I was like, if you are truly walking a priestess path, it is muddy. You do not wear the priestess path. If you're not muddy, you've missed the point. You're not walking the priestess path. Like, the more you are in service to the earth, the more often you are going to be messy and muddy. As far as I can tell. You know.
Yes. And with cuts in the hands and burns in the legs.
On your legs.
Crumble to the ground, like, die. Yeah.
And
so you're sorry, you go.
There you go.
I was just going to say, so your ceremonies, do you do men as well, or are you specific to women? And do you specifically say that everyone has to be naked in there, or it's optional?
Yeah, no. So actually, we don't do naked, because we're here in Bali.
Oh,
And
true.
in
Yeah.
general, and also in general, I feel like in Tulum, where I do temazcales too, we don't go naked. But when we are only women, I do like that they take their bra off at least, because there is so much pressure that we're putting in our breasts all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So this is very relieving, right? Very releasing. But no, I do mixed temazcales, and I actually run also only for men. And that's a different thing. So every time we do, yes, and it's really beautiful. Every time we do only men or only women, we work on specific things, right?
Right.
And it just creates
Are
a
you,
different scenario.
you holding it as a woman, so you're the only woman with all the men?
Yes.
And what is that like?
I mean, but because I have a big man inside of me with a big, it's a big man inside of me. So I feel, so also because my work in every day is mainly with men also. So it is a very beautiful ceremony with men. I can say that I'm even softer with them than with women. I tend to be more gentle with them because they require more of that softness, because they have been so trained to go and do and be and prove and perform, and like, fuck, it's just too much. And actually what they want is also a space where they can be vulnerable and they can be just like this, not having to pretend that they know everything, not having to prove that they are strong because they're physically alert all the time, right? How does this sound to you, Ekbalu, when you
No,
think of?
I was going to say that's perfectly put. It makes sense that the masculine need more that feminine, nurturing softness for sure, and some of the women need a bit more of that, masculine strength as well. So, it's a really good duality, and I think you're handling that right for sure.
Mm.
What's the tradition in Mexico? Is it that, because to me the sweat ceremony originally would have been held by women because it's so womb.
Mm.
But is that true actually in the tradition? Like, that's just me making that up in my head. So
I know,
or
but
is
I love that.
it coming
I love
from
that you
it
say that.
but I'm just wondering, traditional wise, is it a ceremony that was traditionally led by men or by women or by both?
Well, I love that you say this because it actually makes absolute sense that the woman is guiding the ceremony as the man is holding the fire,
Mm-hmm. That's what
right?
makes
This is what makes most sense, right? And actually, I always say that my relationship with Ketut, who is the man of fire in the Temazcal, is the perfect relationship in life, because he has so much awareness on what to do and how to make everything work perfectly so that I can come and share my thing and dance with no worries, which is actually the perfect, like, healthy archetypes of the feminine and the masculine forces. It's just so beautiful to see that, right? So in a way, I believe that also, just as you're saying, like inventing it in your head. No, for me, that sounds logical. However, just as with every religion, and when patriarchy started, and not throwing anything to men, right? But like, because as women stopped having rights and stopped having the power, then now only men were doing the temazcales. So I I mean, I've done temazcales a long time, and it was mainly men who were guiding them. Yeah.
Mm.
And of course, in the tradition, it's both men and women guiding them now. I don't know how it was like 50 years ago. I can probably assume that it was mainly men doing them, but just out of what I'm saying, like, and this is only an assumption. But I see that now more and more women are doing temazcales, even though temazcal is also another space where we can see the importance of bringing both genders, right? Because us women, we are not as physically strong as men. And so, of course, building the fire, putting the stones is like a lot of physical effort.
Mm.
And to me, that whoever keeps the fire. So for anybody that doesn't know Temazcale is actually like some sweats, it's less solid. Like a Temazcale is like an actual stone building, isn't it? But you have the sweat area, and then the stones have to be heated on a fire. And I'm always like, the person that does that, so the person that is looking after the fire and lifting these stones out of the fire and bringing them in, and not getting to be in the ceremony at all, because they're in the ceremony, but they're not getting the same ceremony we're getting inside, because they're outside, sometimes in Bali in the rain, or in England in the cold and the rain, keeping this fire going and carrying these heavy stones. And I'm like, that is so much service. Like, oh, like if you want to see someone in service, that is service to your community, because everybody else is having a fun time singing and nearly dying in the Temazcale. And that person is usually alone outside. And yet the reason that the ceremony is happening and the reason we're all safe is because of that person outside. Like, it's just such, you don't see service like that in the West. You know, like you don't see it in modern Western world. Everybody wants what they can get out of something. Such beautiful service.
I love it. It's absolute devotion. This is true devotion. Because also, I mean, and in a way, it's such a privileged position, right? Because they are guarding the fire. The fire is the element that is holding the sweat. This is why we're here, right? To create heat. So the fire is the one deciding. And the prayer of the man of fire really needs to be very solid. Because he's the structure. He's the one. So I love when you say, like, if it's only because of him that we are all in capacity of going through it. And at the same time, they have an amazing time, because if there is such devotion to the service, it's also such devotion to the fire. So they actually receive a lot of goodness being in the fire, right? Like that's a relationship that needs to be created and cultivated, which sometimes I'm actually quite jealous, like I would love to do this kind of fires, because it's like boom, 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 psh, and then they make it happen. And for me, I take hours and I'm praying, come on, firecito, ándale, please help me. I need you. It's been my thing. My greatest mastery is with the fire, not only with the fire on the physical level and being able to make a fire, but by working and holding my own fire. Have you watched the Avatar and the Last Airbender?
No, I've heard it's very good though.
Oh, everybody needs to see the series. It's a Nickelodeon series, a kids series. It's the best because it talks about Avatar, right? Like it's like the one, like Jesus coming, the one that knows how to bend all the elements, right? And the bad character of the series is the Fire Kingdom, the guys that bend fire, because they burn, because they can hurt, right? So it's a dark force in a way to be the fire bender. However, it's equally important to learn how to work with the fire, which is our spirit, which is the pulse in our lives. So whoever is in charge of the fire has a lot of not only stamina, like stability, but also a lot of patience to be with it. So also a lot of patience to hold a ceremony without even being on it,
Yeah, interesting. I've heard it's really good. I think it's on Netflix as well. It's quite a few seasons as well, I believe. Might have to watch it.
Oh my God, watch it. Yes. I watch it once a year to rebuild the programming. It's the best.
Yeah, wow.
It speaks about all the elements, but in a fun way, because it's kids and they are fun, but it's actually quite deep. It's quite deep. You will love it.
Yeah, nice. I might see if I can try watch it with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's 4.5, so she might be a bit young, but any excuse to get away with watching something that I'm entertained in as well, I'll try.
Yeah, try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it works.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. The first time ever when I was in England, I had a sweat lodge and there's children in it. And I was wondering if you let children into your sweat lodge, because it's very different when there are children in the lodge. They
Yeah.
actually express everybody's fear, really. Like, this is too hot. I'm gonna die. Let me out. Like, like, oh my God. I'm saying the thing that nobody wants to say, right?
I love it.
Let
I'm
children.
bored, like this kid saying, I'm bored, mommy. I want to go out. Oh, I do allow kids in. I allow pregnant women. I allow women also in their period if they feel good, Every time they ask me, I'm like, tell me please how you feel. Because you are the one who really knows more. Of course, if you're having, then I say a few things, right? Like if you're having pain or if you're going through this and this and this, better not to go in. But other than that, everybody's welcome. And we all know our limits in a way, right? So I also say that with people that are going through fear, people that are like women that are pregnant, or men, for example, that have issues by sitting in a lotus position all the time, or like in a seated position all the time. There's many things, but like I'm pretty sure that 95% of the things that we can consider as something dangerous for the temazcal are not. Because in a way, it's a very soft medicine.
So soft. And it's so soft if you surrender. It's not
Yes.
like the softness comes from your own surrender, I think. But since my guides have been going on and on, they're like sweat. Any problem you have, physical, emotional, sweat, and then see it, and then take another medicine. Like their solution is sweat first. And it's if you go and sweat, nearly anything. I've got rid of many things because of sweating, physical and emotional.
Can you name some? Do you have them like fresh?
There was this one, well, obviously there was the big death in Bali. Where like I was stuck in a relationship cycle that I couldn't get out of, and that's when I was like, this dies, and then I had death inside of me. I had to go and rebirth and all of that, and really it did go from my life, like it really did. That the sweat journey I had in Bali that year changed it. But even like, so I was with my friend once and she was really ill and she was getting progressively worse throughout the day. And I could feel that I'd caught it off her, when she was so infectious. And I was like, I can tell that I'm about to get this. And so I opened up to my guides and I was like, what do I do? And they were like, go to a sauna now and do this meditation. And I can't even remember what the meditation was. And they were like, you will feel worse. So if you do that, you will feel worse, but it will pass through you much quicker. And so it's up to you. You can do that way, or you can be ill with this for 2 weeks, or you can get rid of it in 2 days. And so I was like, I'll take the 2 days. So I went to the sauna, I did the meditation, and I came back, and then I was like, oh, I am so ill now. Like I have just made this so bad by doing that. But my friend, like they said, was ill for 2 weeks. And by day 3, I was fine. And so, my guide's view of medicine is that medicine, they're like, if it doesn't make you purge, it's not a medicine.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so they're like, you cannot call aspirin a medicine. It doesn't make you purge. It might mean you can stop the pain and do the work, but from their very traditional viewpoint, a purge is required for a medicine. And sweat is actually the gentlest of the purges. You know, there's ways to purge that are a lot more intense than your body having a cry, which is what a sweat is, you know. And so I feel like I think pretty much anything you could take into Temazcale, and you might not cure it, but you would move it along. You know, you could move it, could change. The sweat could cause it to change state. Other than maybe something you're born with, because if you're born with it, then that's who you are. But anything else, I think sweat.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, even just on a physical sense, outside of the toxins you're purging, just blood flow, it fixes so many things. And when you're under that intense heat, your blood flow is really intense, and sort of cleansing the system, restarting the system, flushing the system, and it's important to have that blood flow to heal. So it's just doing all of that. So it's doing so many things at once. It's truly amazing.
All of us need to get sweaty, get dirty, and shut up more. 100%. And shut up, yeah. All of us need to shut up more often.
Oh my God. In the last, can I share something? In the last ceremony, we were 33 people inside, and I was really saying, like, guys, we need to stay in silence, because otherwise, like, the energy dissipates very fast. And every second, like, somebody would start talking, I was like, silence, then silence, and then silence, and then silence. But yeah, my patience was like 0. And then I was like, guys, come on. Like, you don't know what silence is? It's weird. It's very incredible, because we're so scared of silence. We're so scared. We want to feel all the void, and the moments of, like, nobody's saying anything. What's gonna happen? When the mind kicks in and gets super loud, that's why we want to keep on talking and doing, right? But actually the silence is coming back again to that space where we can actually listen to ourselves, and that space where we can surrender, just as you were saying, right? Like the temazcal is easy when we surrender, but just like any other medicine, right? Like ayahuasca, when we're like holding, it's such a bad trip. Whenever we're doing whatever, the more we resist, even with no medicine, when we resist life, it gets super complicated.
And anything that teaches you, that gives you opportunity to surrender, to practice surrender, is just such a gift for life. And I think that because our soul is infinite, it can't actually reside within our noise. We can only hear our soul in our silence, because all noise has an ending. So the infinity of our soul isn't able to reside in our noise. It has to reside in our silence. You hear your soul. Well, just you hear your soul, and then you come out, and when you eat like your soul. You drink water like your soul. You come back to your soul.
And really remembering that we are one with her, like one with nature, one with all aspects of life. It's just, I feel like every time I'm in the temazcal, it just creates such humbleness of, I know shit. I don't know anything. I have no control of life. Thank you for reminding me this, because now I can rest that I don't have to have anything planned, that I don't have to have all the control and the certainty in life to keep on moving. I can just trust that life will keep on unfolding in the best way for me, for my teachings, for my evolution, and for the highest good of everybody, right? So it's like, which is actually the best of the purges, you know, the like exhaling, and chilling out.
I wish we could keep talking because I feel like we've been on a Temazcale day. When I think of this conversation, I feel like in some ways we've been through the gates and we've spoken about the death, and then we've had these moments of laughter and these moments of beauty and these moments of community, and this is a taste of a properly held Temazcale, and you hold so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for the medicine you're bringing to Bali. It's so the energies in Bali are sometimes crazy, and the Temazcale is a place of sanctuary. Honestly, it's really important.
Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful words, and thank you for coming and bringing always your beautiful smile and your incredible attitude and energy, that it's really important and needed, you know, for holding us, because we're all holding each other, right? So every time you come, or like people that like are so enthusiastic with the temazcal, I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God for you guys. Thank God for us, because we're all holding the temazcal together. Yes.
Me and Ekbalu have a deal. The next time I'm in Bali, he's coming to Bali, so he's coming to Temazcale too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm scared, but I'll be there.
I love it. I really appreciate people are scared. I'm like, oh, that's the best. It's the best.
No water. Whew.
It's just so soft. You won't even think about it.
Yeah.
Also, it's an opportunity to see how your saliva is actually quite incredible. And you're just like, and then, yeah.
Savoring every bit.
You go out straight to the coconut water. So that's a pleasure. That's a pleasure to experience.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Never taste coconut water like it. That when you haven't had water in a Temazcale for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, it's the sweetest thing you'll ever taste. I want to ask you one last question, Gloria. Who should we have on this show next?
Who should we have on this show next? Oh my God. That was such a spontaneous and surprising question. La doctora Quantum. Doctor Quantum. I mean, you need to get ready to hear this woman. But maybe you don't know this woman. Is that okay?
Oh, we don't have to know. Yeah.
La doctora Quantum, she's my sister since we're 4 years old. And she is a shaman, like a curandera, like a proper medicine woman that works with Santa Maria, cannabis. And she has such a message to share. She has such an incredible way of working with her, but with the roses, with the blue lotus, with the incense, with the palo santo. Like she works with herbs and with different medicinal plants in such a profound, and like you've never ever experienced anything like this before. So talking with her is actually getting to know Santa Maria more, getting to know mushrooms also in a different way, and to know the roses, these beautiful flowers, you know, that are like also ancient, but also carry a lot of wisdom and beauty and softness. So yeah, you should bring her.
Thank you. Please put us in touch with her. She sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I'm really happy that you asked me this question.
Thank you so much, West of What. We're so grateful. We're so grateful for you and your medicine and your gloriousness, Gloria.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me in such a beautiful space, for you guys to be so incredible and spontaneous and just going with the flow, so relaxing. It feels just so wonderful that you're spreading such a message, because not only the message of the talk, but the message of who you are, just being very you. And it feels like a lot of permission also for me to be relaxed and not to be what am I going to say? Was it good what I said? Was it not? It's just a space where we're all being us, and that feels wonderful. So thank you so much for creating these spaces, guys.
Thank you for creating that in Temazcale. And yeah, people find you we'll put all of the links in, but if people are in Bali and they want to come, they just look up the womb Temazcale, right?
Yes, the womb Temazcale. I am checking that account all the time. So yeah, that's a good way of getting in touch with the ceremonies that we're doing every full moon and new moon. So we have two a month, and special occasions also.
And I say, if I didn't have to fly 22 hours, I would be all of them.
I'm pretty close. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You need to come.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much. May the land be with you all. If today's episode touched your heart and you want to come into greater relationship with Mother Earth, visit landtantra.com and get involved. Your truth is part of this conversation, and we would love you to reach out on socials and let us know how it landed. And if it really inspired you, we hope you share it with others. Let's add more wow to our world.